As the Faversham Fringe segues into its third week, I'm continuing to engage with some of the very talented individuals who will be performing in the three Fringe venues until the 26th of October. Today, I'm talking to Joe Paine about his live show, Last Train to Mystery, which will be in the Guildhall at 7 p.m. on Sunday, the 19th of October. Hi, Joe.
Hello, how are you?
I'm all right. So, Joe, what inspired Last Train to Mystery?
Last Train to Mystery, inexplicably, is actually part of my PhD research. I'm doing a PhD into tabletop RPG narrative, and it was the initial part of that. But I wanted to set a story in a familiar place, and it's set in the fictional town of New Haven, which is essentially a reskinned Faversham, a place that I've loved for years. So I was just really keen to set a story there.
Okay. And apart from the obvious that it must have something to do with a train and there's a mystery, and avoiding spoilers so that it remains a mystery, what is it all about?
Essentially, I'll be setting my cast of cretins off on a story as they try to solve a mystery I put up for them and bumble along on the way. It started as a podcast, and in the initial episode, when I told them they had 24 hours to solve a mystery, they spent the first 8 hours asleep. So who knows where it'll end up and what other ridiculousness they get up to.
You just said a cast of cretins, so it's not just you.
No, there's myself. I'm the person leading it. I've also got my good friends Seb Rayner, Kristen Taylor, who prefers to be known as Chris, and Dr. Paul Easterbrook with me as well.
Right. Okay, so it's not just you pulling all the strings. Interesting.
No, indeed.
So, are there any particular stories in the show you feel will connect with your fellow Favershamites? And why do you think that is?
Yes, indeed. The show is based around a particular event from Faversham's own history. The whole central narrative is based around an historical event from Faversham. So if anyone can work that out, they'll be thoroughly impressed. I'll be thoroughly impressed. There's also a wonderful. I like to think it's wonderful. There's a thread that ties all of the story together, and it's the conclusion of a series of podcast episodes that people can find on Spotify as well.
Okay, are you going to let us know what the part of Faversham history is? Or is that a spoiler?
I think that would be a spoiler for the show.
Right.
It's one of the major parts of let's say, West Faversham's history.
Okay, all right. Well, you've heard it there. You need to go along to find out more. So, are you hoping your audience are going to laugh their heads off at this or maybe shocked by some parts of it? What's the aim for your audience?
It is a horror comedy show. It's so there will be some parts that if you're a bit squeamish, you won't necessarily enjoy. But it's designed to be funny. A lot of the comedy comes from the antagonistic relationship between myself and the others as they constantly try and wind me up and stop me doing what I'm trying to do. So if you enjoy that kind of panel show atmosphere, then you'll certainly find some laughs in it.
So, performance is always nerve wracking and exhilarating. That's why we all do it. But do you have any unforgettable moments you'd like to share that's occurred in your time as a performer?
My performance career has been very odd, but the big one I always remember is that I used to be a medieval reenactor. I spent 10 years doing that. I reenacted in Faversham and was involved in the Magna Carta launch there some years ago, back in 2015, and was in charge of the reenactment side of that. But I'm also a massive Southend United fan, and at one point, a friend of mine and I were able to fight on the pitch at half time in front of 5,500 people, smacking one another with swords, which was the most unhinged thing I can possibly imagine. And all of the reviews in the papers afterwards said that we looked completely insane. And I like to think I've maintained that over the last decade, my level of mild insanity.
So, broadswords on the football pitch.
Yes, indeed. And an axe, in fact.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, that's certainly an unforgettable moment for those who watched, I should think.
Yeah, I've still got the pictures.
So, what are you hoping your audience will take away when they come to see Last Train to Mystery? What are going to be their lasting memories of Last Train to Mystery?
Well, they can have a free pint because I'll buy anyone who turns up. I'll buy a pint in furlongs afterwards. But the lasting memory is the idea that a tabletop RPG. This isn't a show for just D&D fans or whatever. This isn't. You don't need to turn up thinking I know Dungeons and Dragons. I know how these games work. That's not what it is. An RPG like this is just an excuse to tell a story where sometimes the dice decide the destiny, as it were. So it's an opportunity for us to tell this combined story, to make people laugh, to tell what's hopefully going to be a heartfelt and heartwarming story, whilst some dice are rolled occasionally, just so that it doesn't always go the way you'd expect it to go necessarily.
Right. Okay. So you've heard it here. If you're fascinated by the supernatural, like mysteries, and are pretty good at throwing dice, perhaps, then hop on board The Last Train to Mystery and see Joe and his live podcast in the Guildhall at 7 p.m. on Sunday, the 19th of October. Tickets are available online at favershamfringe.co.uk/what's-on. This sounds like a real adventure for the audience, with role-playing and riddle solving. And there are prizes to be won and pints to be drunk. What's not to like? Thank you, Joe, for talking to Faversham and the people of Faversham today, and good luck with both the shows.
Thank you for having me. It's been great fun.